Well, it's a pretty simple link here. I say choose from these options to minimize the damage of climate change. So over the next week, today is July 16th, and going into the 23rd, I want to have you work in groups of 5. I will appoint the groups so you don't have to rummage around that. And I want you to choose from these options which one you'd like to research as a group. I would like to have you make a short presentation, PowerPoint, otherwise, whatever sort of presentation style you're looking at, of say about 5 minutes. And I would like you to use this as a starting point and show us, the rest of the class, the promise that these areas have. And this would be due at the end of the week, which should be Friday the 24th. And so I'm going to give you, if you click on this link, that'll lead to this page, Table of Solutions by Project Drawdown, which is a group that very responsibly researches the things we can do to combat climate change. And I kind of want to end on a positive note. This is where the hard data is. If you click on the scenario 1, which is to reduce keep the temperature close to 2 degrees centigrade, which would still be a source of a great deal of problems, relocation, forced migrations, but not disastrous. And then the second scenario is to shoot for 1.5 degrees centigrade of global warming. And so that's the goal, to either go from, I think it's 2.7 to 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit. That'd be the range. And you get different numbers. This is the lowest to highest if you click one way. If you click the other way, it's kind of high to low, but not quite. And if you click a third way, this over here, scenario 2, then you get these other numbers here. And I think that works, somehow that works better in some ways. But anyway, it's largely from most effective to least effective in terms of gigatons of power produced. So it'd probably be a good idea to stick to the top things, which would be, and I've got to keep clicking this thing around here, but onshore wind turbines, that's a new one for me. I mean, I've heard of it, but I didn't know it was such a heavy hitter for producing energy. Utility scale solar voltaics. This is not the stuff you put on the roof of your house, but something that would take miles and miles of open space and could provide, they're already doing this in Australia. And you could provide electricity for thousands of people. Reduced food waste. I didn't know that. That's pretty powerful. Plant-rich diets, kind of getting off of our reliance on pretty much beef, but the things that take acreage and acreage of rainforest and convert them into open farms. And then health and education, that's a new one for me, but apparently as people get healthier and more educated, this is going to be beneficial. Tropical rain restoration, rainforest restoration, different ways of cooking, and then distributed photovoltaics. That's the stuff we put on the roofs of our houses. And, all the way down, refrigerant, alternative refrigerants. I don't even know what silvopasture is, but I think it has to do with turning all of the waste back into the land. And so I would say even if you stuck to the top 10, you're going to find some really heavy hitters that give promise for bringing down the level of climate change we're going to experience between now and 2100. So where am I going? Very quickly, I'm going to appoint groups, and I'd like your groups to decide on which one of these, say top 10 or so, because they're the ones that'll have the most data you'd like to research. And then I would like you to make a presentation on what the promise is now, what the promise is in the future, and just kind of give an idea of some of the technological challenges, some of the things they can do now, some of the things they hope they can do. But for right now, I just want you to choose which one you want to work on as a group. Maybe between Thursday night and tomorrow, I will make the groups right now in about 5 minutes. And then I will spec out exactly what I want you to produce when I get up tomorrow morning, which is Friday. There's an advantage to this. I'll correct your essays over the weekend. This is relatively light duty for you. I'm not trying to downplay it. I want you to do a great job. And it also gives me time to, over the next week, to not only have your essays done this weekend, but also many people are going to want to revise. I'm going to need some extra time to meet with people and have Zoom sessions and do all of that extra work so we can kind of push pause here after the two major essays and catch up over the next week. So that's the plan, and I will make the groups within minutes. In fact, I'll make them right now, and then I will attach this video once it gets turned into a YouTube.